Hello, and welcome to Exploring Christianity, a Journey of Faith. Today I want to share with you a new spiritual practice that I've been doing that I think has been helping me grow. I got the idea from this little book by Brother Lawrence, Practice of the Presence of God. Brother Lawrence was a French monk in the 1600s. He is said to have taught himself to be aware and connected to God's presence at all times, and that he learned to do everything he did out of love for God. This little book is easy to read, and each chapter is only a few pages long. Two of my besties, hi Angie, hi Michelle, and I meet periodically and read a chapter out loud to each other and then talk about it. This version of Brother Lawrence's book even has discussion questions for each chapter. At the time I wrote this video, you could get a Kindle copy for about $2 or a hard copy for $6 on Amazon. I highly recommend it. One of the many wonderful practices Brother Lawrence adopted is the one I've been trying to learn. When Brother Lawrence finished a body of work, he would consider for a minute how he'd done. If he felt that he'd done well, he would thank God. If he felt that he had not done well, he would confess to God where he had failed, ask God for forgiveness, and ask God to stop him from failing, because he knew that left to his own strength and without God mending the cause of his failure, he would continue to fail. And then the book says, he gave himself no further anxiety about it. Let's unpack this a bit. Brother Lawrence did not practice false modesty. When he had done well, he recognized that he had done well. But instead of letting this recognition result in self-pride, he fully accepted that the fact he had done well was a gift from God. Brother Lawrence had only done well because God enabled him to do so, and so God should be thanked. When Brother Lawrence had not done well, he recognized this as well, confessed this to God, and asked for forgiveness. And we're not talking about where he had done something that we would all consider a big sin. Maybe he was not as careful in his work and had broken something. Maybe he was just listless that day and didn't work very hard. Maybe he was grumpy with a coworker. I think there is great power in recognizing these failings, confessing them to God, and asking for God's forgiveness, even in these small things. But Brother Lawrence doesn't stop there. Brother Lawrence asked God to change him so he would not continue to fail. He accepts responsibility for his failing, raises the failing up to God, and opens himself to God's changing grace. And finally, Brother Lawrence then lets it go. He recognizes that it's now in God's hand. He recognizes that God is in control of all things and that only God can change him. Wow. I've been trying to do something similar. I'd like to get to the point where I do this throughout the day, stopping to consider, how did I do in that meeting? Was I kind? Was I focused? And how did I do in my interactions with my husband after work? Was I supportive and understanding if he'd had a bad day? Did I give him my full attention when he was talking? Was I loving or was I irritable? I've not yet trained myself to do this on the fly, but I am doing it in my morning walks with God. While I don't always do so, I try to get myself out of bed early enough to go for what I call a walk and pray. I walk around the neighborhood and talk with God, out loud. I'm sure half of my neighbors think I'm crazy and the other half figure I'm on the phone. Anyway, I try to include a daily recap of the previous day in my conversations with God. I mentally review the day before and assess how each major thing went, and then lift them up to God, either to offer thanks or to confess, ask for forgiveness, and ask God to mend me. Since I started doing this, I've noticed two things. The first thing is that this practice seems to reduce stress and increase peace. Where I'm falling short and would previously be frustrated with myself, by instead bringing it to God, I know that I'm not alone. God and only God can fix my shortcoming, and will do so in God's time. The second thing I notice is that I'm more aware of God in my day. When I'm about to get frustrated with that person at work who always derails my meetings, I sense God's presence. Sometimes I feel God nudging me toward other better responses, and sometimes I just feel God's love supporting me. I think this is slowly improving some of my failings, but I'm also not stressed about whether it is or not, because I know it's in God's hands. So, my suggestion to you is to give this a try for a week or two. At least once a day, try this process of assessing how you've done on something and then lifting it up to God to give thanks or to ask for forgiveness and correction. Hopefully, you'll find it's a practice you want to continue. What spiritual practices have you found that draw you closer to God?